All right, you're watching Decision 2023, our special coverage of the Presidential and National Assembly election. Right now, we will be speaking with a former governor of Ogun State and a journalist, Olusegun Osoba. He will be speaking with us with regards to his perhaps part of his ideas and understanding of things going on with regards to the election. Thank you for joining us, Aremo.
Thank you very much. You are welcome. You're welcome.
Right. Just yesterday, we saw former President Olusegun Obasanjo release a letter with regards to the conduct of the 2023 presidential election. He raised some concerns that have been generating reaction. And we know that the international observers talking about ECOWAS and AU have commended the election process. But he is seeing it in a different perspective. What do you make of his letter and what he has raised, the concerns he raised?
I'm shocked and disappointed because a former president making comments should, first of all, research his information and make concrete evidence of what he's talking about. First of all, I expect President Obasanjo, and I'm going to use the word president for him because in Yoruba, which is a very deep language, we say Omola for Ile Ola, meaning that a statesman should be statesmanly. In the first instance, the President Obasanjo himself decided to go into the fray. On January 1, he issued a statement, lengthy statement, endorsing Peter Obi. If you are already in the ring, why should you now want to choose to be a referee in a situation where you should have been on Mola? So I am not happy with him that he's not being objective. And I say this based on record. I'm a journalist, and we journalists worship and respect facts. All elections that he had ever conducted as president have always been condemned. In fact, the last election he conducted, the unanimous decision of the international observer was that that election was stolen, and that in that election, over 200 people died. On the day of election, 55 people died. And the verdict of the international observer, and I want Nigerians to please Google the report of the election in Nigeria in 2007 by DFID, Department of International Development, UK. Please Google it. That verdict was that the Nigerian elections of April 2007 were judged by most observers to fall a long way short of the standards for credible, free, and fair elections, and was judged to be the worst in Nigeria's post-independence in its electoral history. Now, it went on to say, and I'm showing it to the whole world, so please Google this report. I'm talking of facts, and I will want President Obasanjo to engage me in this intellectual debate that he has started. In that report, I will go further. The report says The 2000 elections are regarded as the worst in Nigeria post-independence history. Widespread malpractice occurred throughout all stages of the elections, with failures in the late delivery of voting materials, late commencement of polls in most of the states, ballot box stuffing, allocation of votes where voting did not take place, falsification of votes, deliberate denial of election materials to perceived strongholds of the opposition, and other such actions. Moreover, the current ruling party, that's PDP under Obasanjo, fixed the results in advance, even for local government in all but a handful of states, as part of an intra-elite deal, accidentally leaking accurate results in the press a few days prior to the election. Some states, such as Rivers, Ogun, Oyo, and Ekiti, saw vote totals for far above the numbers of registered voters in those states. In 2007, broke from 2003 in going from competitive rigging in 2003 to 2007 to a vote allocation. Competitive rigging in 2003 now moved to vote allocation or direct capture. In addition, all stages of the elections were marked by extraordinarily high levels of political violence. 55 people died on that, and that's election under President Obasanjo, as attested to by international observer. They use the word stolen elections. When a diplomatic language like this uses this kind of word, I can tell you, after the elections, President Yar'Adua called a meeting of his colleagues, former governors, at the villa. And I had the private understanding. He told me that he was totally embarrassed by the result that produced him as president. And as a very honest individual, he told me he would take action. And he did. He now set up a 22-man, 25-man Justice Muhammadu Weiss in 2007 to look into the election of his elections. That commission was made up of highly placed Nigerians. Among members of the commission were General Olada Popola, a first-class officer and gentleman, Professor Bola Akiyemi, former IG Muslim Smith, the past chairman of INEC, Professor Amtayo Dega, was a member. Late Chief Tonyo Olakunrin was a member. Late Professor Alele Williams was a member. You can imagine a high-power commission of that nature condemned in totality and made fundamental recommendations. I mean, Yar'Adua, as president, set up a commission to probe his own election, and the verdict of that commission was damning. So what moral authority as President Obasanjo to now come and teach us on what should be a fair election?
A little disturbing that he comes out with this kind of statement and he has not given us any concrete evidence to support his claims. Does that mean that this is not just a statement but an incitement?
More than an incitement, I think it's Tuesday, because you see, I can tell you, Nigerians have decided to stay for democratic change of government. All elections conducted under Obasanjo after he became president in 1999 have been judged as terrible. So he is making statement now. It's like going back to the days of the military, when retired generals are usually asked to issue statement attacking sitting government in a way to give muscle to the young thugs in the military to overthrow the government. I'm worried, but I'm sure Nigerians have made up their mind, in spite of the flaws in the election in 2003 and 2007, Nigeria accepted that we must uphold the democratic change of government. In this situation, I assure Nigerians that Nigerians have made up their mind. They will not be provoked, because I see this statement as provocation to violence. I'm happy some of the attempt to provoke people in Lagos to violence. One is being doused by Asiwaju Bola Tinubu himself, who says that the result in Lagos is the beauty of democracy. Now, they've been posting terrible things on the internet that Ladipo Bakare have been set on fire, and I'm happy the president of the Igbo-dominated Ladipo Bakare came out to say that everything is peaceful there. They've been posting terrible things on the internet, that a hyper flag was hoisted in Alausa, whereas it was a B flag that was hoisted at Computer Market. You see, there have been incitement, but I'm happy that Nigerians were wiser. The Yoruba, the Lagosians, are over-liberal, and they have decided that there will be no violence, they will not be instigated, they will not allow a situation where hoodlums hijack the NSAS and destroyed everything in Lagos. Brand new buses, the totality of Igbo High Court, all the records that we have had over the years destroyed. So we are not going to allow this. We are breaking the jinx of the so-called 30 years situation, 1993, 2003. This time around, Nigeria have decided to break the jinx. The statement is the total incitement. And I plead with him, as a former president, as Yoruba would say, Baba Dagba, Ayoguja. An elder should learn not to be pugilistic in old age. That's what Yoruba people teach us.
Right. Now, even the international observers have said that Nigeria is on track with regards to conducting this election. But this statement, if you are to situate it, how much of a danger does it pose to our democracy?
I've said it is a total incitement to the so-called youth that he addressed on January 1. He's been trying to cut the interests of the youth, and this can mislead them into an untoward reaction. Two, I'm disappointed in the fact that he knows, and I know, as a journalist and as a party person, that like 1993, the results of the election from all the states, minus Rivers, I'm not sure whether Rivers has now been concluded, have been concluded. The results in all the states have been announced at the state level. Now, they all have the result, and that's why Dino Melaye is raising hell. All the parties, through their agents, have the result for virtually all the states. I cannot disclose it now because it's against electoral law, and I don't want you to breach NBC, NCC regulation. Our party agents, including the PDP, Labour, APC at each state level have authenticated results. Secondly, as in the political system, the results have been authenticated at 4 levels: the polling unit level, the ward level, the local government level, in some cases at House of Rep and Senate level. Then the totality of these votes have been confirmed at the state level and have been signed by the agents of all the parties. So what is it that what they are making noise about at the collation center? The word is collation. The operative word is collation in Abuja, the national collation. The result is not being authenticated by Professor Muhammadu Yakubu.
Mahmoud Yakubu.
It's not Mahmoud. No, it's not. Yes, Yakubu. I know very well. We were all in the. His is to just collate. These results have been authenticated at all the levels, and the PDP have the result from their agents. APC, we got all the results. So they cannot utter it anymore. They are wasting their time. And when they talk of beavers, look, who doesn't know? I am told, as an investigative journalist, I have investigated and found that the INEC server portal has been attacked so many times, and Yakubu is wise. He has decided to hold on and protect that server. Let them wait. If the server, when it's finally released, if it's at what is recorded at the world level and at all other levels is at variance, then but they know it. It will not be at variance. Who doesn't know that technologically, when you have millions of information come to a server, you are about to have a little bit of reasonable delay. So I believe that there is an attempt to now scuttle the process and try to now sell the idea of an interim government, which will never happen.
Yes, you know a lot about the struggle for democracy. You were in the trenches. In your memoirs, you did a lot of writing about what you went through and the pains, the nations, the suffering, the death threats, and the escapes that you also went through, and all of that, the injustices you suffered. Obasanjo did not have all of that. Are we dealing with a man who does not know the value of democracy because he never experienced any fight for it?
Yes, of course. He is not himself democratic. Let me start from the 1979 elections, which he conducted as a military head of state. That the Lord said that where the result is inconclusive, they should go into electoral college. And Awolowo and Azikiwe were to go into electoral college, Shagari were to go into electoral college as the two leading candidates. Now, he now concocted the 12-2-3. It's 12-2-3 of the state. But instead of saying 12-2-3 of the state, he said 12-2-3 of the vote in the last state, which is contrary to what the election, and that was how Awolowo was shortchanged, and the election was virtually rigged at the topmost level. The idea of going to electoral college was aborted. So at that point, he knew that Azikiwe and Awolowo had been talking to now have the votes, the electoral college of Azikiwe and Awolowo combined will have defeated Shagari. But he wanted Shagari installed. He did. Fine. 2003, Justice Toby, who was the chairman of the electoral panel that handled the presidential election, used very strong language that the election in Ogun State bordered on criminal, was criminal in nature. Criminal is a serious indictment of a sitting president, because what happened? President Obasanjo returned 1.2 million votes for himself. 1.2 million votes. Up to today, this is 20 years after. We have not recorded anything near a million votes in Ogun State in all elections over 20 years. And the population of Ogun State then was about 2.something million, which means over 50% of people voted. And Waziri Adio, in this day, was the first to raise alarm that there was a differential of 600,000 between the recorded vote for governorship, which was the same day, and 600,000 difference in the election for the governorship, and 1.2 million for Obasanjo. Obasanjo was asked, what happened to 600,000? I said, even one blind woman said, I want to vote Obasanjo. Just put my finger on Obasanjo. Till today, he has not been able to, President Buhari went to court. Fortunately, we have high level of household settlement in Ogun State. And because we sell cola, we produce cola. And each of the Sabo area made sure they got authentic results. These were taken to the tribunal. And Justice Toby, who went on to be one of the justices of the Supreme Court, said that the cancelled the election in Ogun State, in his own state, his own presidential election, and said the situation in Ogun State was criminal. I didn't go to court. He should learn from me. I wanted to serve. I was rigged out. I packed my bags and baggage. I went home. So, take for example, on the day of election, when the beaver did not capture my face and finger, and they said, well, they know me. I said, no, it's not question man, no man. I will not vote. I would rather lose my one vote and save about 100 and something votes that APC scored than to go and have one vote that will record overvoting. That was the statement at the age of 80 and above. Obasanjo and I, we are above 80. And Yoruba people say, inú làgbà ń yá, àgbà kì í yánu. And for us to be àgbà, fi gbọ́ ṣe aláìgbọ́, an elder must learn to turn matters in his mind and his thinking and speak less. He's a former president. I will continue to respect the office of the president as Omola. Like I said, he is also Bola. We must not destroy that office of the president. And I don't know why he's always after Bola Tinubu. I'll give an example of what Bola had done to help him. In 2002, he was to go to Unilag for convocation, and the Unilag students said he must never come. It was Bola Tinubu as governor who assured him that he will use his image and respect within the students. He escorted him to Unilag to give him protection. It was from that convocation that this same Asiwaju Tinubu escorted him to Dodon Barracks. And it was the same Bola Tinubu who begged all of us to come and meet him at Dodon Barracks, and his own DSS director, Colonel came with him. It was the first meeting we ever held where he was begging us to help him. And we told him we cannot give any help unless he goes to speak to our leader, Abraham Adesoya. So, in actual fact, Asiwaju Tinubu helped to protect him when he was in trouble. And we decided to now, when Gali Naba honestly wanted to impeach him. The current chairman of APC, Abdullahi, was the chairman of the government. In his house, we had a meeting, and I was asked to be the leader of the people to go and lobby Gali Naba to suspend her because we did not want democracy to be, not because we were not fighting for Obasanjo, we were protecting the fragile democracy. I'm talking on facts, and I would like President Obasanjo to engage me more on this intellectual debate.
Some people have said that what Obasanjo is doing to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not to him alone, that he has this pattern that some people in psychology call fear of gratitude. That if you have done something good to Obasanjo, he's afraid to say thank you. So he must have to do something to undermine what you have done to him.
Well, I'm probably one of the closest to him and longest in terms of relationship with him. While we were in the Herald, he saw us as an objective newspaper that engaged the new Nigeria that was opposed to his government prior to 1979. And we did everything, not that we were running propaganda. Where they were attacking his government, we were giving the factual thing, and Herald became popular. And he had cause to invite me to his office, me, Peter Ajayi, to thank us for being objective. At the end of the day, when I went to interview to be appointed MD of State, he said I'm an Awolowo person. He cancelled the appointment. General Krade is alive. Late at Abisoye went to him and said, from the report, your cancellation of that interview didn't show that any letter was written to Awolowo by Osoba. He said, the king can do no wrong, and a head of state cannot reverse himself. He paid me back in that manner. The same result that he condemned was what the governors of Ogun Ondo then used to now call me back to sketch. When I was going to be governor, the blackmail was that I denied my citizenship of Ogun State, my indigenship of Ogun State, when I was going to Herald, and I claimed to be a Kwara, because my mother is from Kwara. Later, Ekoka told me that Obasanjo joined them in saying that yes. And I said, can it be true? He forgot when I became an director, I had access to my confidential file. He was the one who signed a letter from Colonel Taiwo requesting that I be seconded. And he was the one who told them not to consult the chairman of the radio, and they should announce me on the radio before I say no. I had to confront him in his farm with the document that why you not the one who sent me to Kwara.
I want to ask a quick question because we are trying to round off. We have an announcement to make on the elections. I just want you to say, some people believe that Obasanjo's anger is actually that he doesn't want another Yoruba man to emerge as president in this country.
Well, of course. I mean, you know what he said about Abiola, that is not the Messiah. Now, they are saying all kinds of things about Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. It's a repeat, but I can assure you, this is work, and you know, an eminent lawyer, very close to him, has suggested interim government. They think they can now work out. This is not a military government. And Buhari is not somebody, it's not an interventionist president. He will never intervene. And the Electoral Act of 2004, I'm told by a lawyer, Section 8415, because the PDP and others are planning to go to court to scuttle this. That Section 8415 says that a court cannot use interim injunction to scuttle any electoral process. So they are wasting their time.
All right, and that will be a fine place to leave the conversation. Aremo Olusegun Osoba, thank you for your time on the program.